Besides sending the police, you might want to send an ambulance or a hearse.
Hello, welcome to Billy Ho Sports 2023 Travelers Championship. We got everything lined out. We're going to do some weather. We're going to do player pools, lineup strategies, ownership, all that good stuff. The Travelers Championship has been played at TPC River Highlands since 1984. So we got tons of course history, probably next to Augusta for the Masters, the highest stickiness or whatever you want to call it of course history. So we're going to dive into some players today and try to find those low key gems that we're looking for to get that leverage. Winning GPPs is all about that leverage. So we're going to get into that. Nothing wrong with playing some chalk. Don't get me wrong. I love me some chalk, but we need to figure out how we want to incorporate those chalkier plays into our lineups. So hopefully we can help each other, because this is something that I've struggled with through my entire DFS golf career, or whatever you want to call it, is that I got all the right players. I just always seem to find those one or two guys that torpedo my lineup every week. So we're going to try to get together and get that done. So please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Smash that like button. The DraftKings contest is still available. I'm sure there's still plenty of spots, but we should get close to filling it anyway. So hopefully we do that, and let's go. Get her done. And obviously, the first thing we're going to talk about is the weather. And it is a damn good thing that the Travelers Championship and the Travelers logo is that big fat red umbrella, because it's looking like a wet one coming up this weekend. Rain in the forecast all week. Now, this is we're looking at right now is Wind Finder. I just wanted to show you an updated. I don't trust these gusts. I think they exaggerate them. Every other site you'll look at is going to have, now the regular wind is probably about right, but you know, it's the gust. We have no idea. It looks like just a nice kind of soft, steady rain all day, and pretty much all day Thursday. It doesn't really say it here, but it could start a little bit later in the day. But last I looked, it was really trending toward like right at first tee, and just kind of a steady rain all day long Thursday, all day basically Friday. It might pick up a little bit. I do trust this wind in the PM a little bit more. So basically, significant rain in the forecast all week, beginning Thursday. The showers and thunderstorms are more scattered on Saturday and Sunday, but we first need to get through that cut. So rain means a soft course with soft, inviting greens. Less rollout means maybe the irons will be a little bit longer, but things are going to be real sticky, and it's going to be real inviting to fire at flags. So I think we need some maybe a little bit more aggressive type players. If there is a wave I'm interested in, it's obviously going to be PM/AM, because I think the least amount of wind of the entire, if you want to call them four quadrants, you know, AM, PM, is going to be Friday AM, and it's going to be super soft. And a little bit wet, but not too bad. So we'll see. I don't think there'll be any delays, because I don't think the rain's going to be heavy enough Thursday, Friday to cause problems. But one thing you can bank on, and I'll tell you that straight up: lift, clean, place, preferred lies are going to be in effect. That I don't know if they'll pull the trigger on it Thursday, but you can best believe if it's not Thursday, it's going to be Friday, Saturday, and through the weekend. So just I thought I'd shout that out there for you. So let's get back at it. Cheat sheet. We're going to talk some ownership here, and so after that, it's difficult to predict delays and all that stuff. But I do, like I said, preferred lies are in effect, and that means anything in the fairway, you can pick it up, clean it off, and place it back down where you can strike your next shot. It's such a phenomenal bonus when it comes to wet weather. You don't get those mud balls. You don't get, I mean, if you're off the fairway, you're good luck to you at this event. So just keep that in mind. And since ownership is always condensed up top, that's where we're going to start. So I'm going to show you a list of some pivots and plays that I came up with just off the top of my head. It's a dirty dozen, if you want to call it. 6 plays, 6 pivots, and starts up top with Scotty Too Hottie. Like I said in the Discord, the guy shows up every week. He finished 5th at Byron. Back that up with the 2nd at the PGA. Oh, you think major letdown? No, he's going to Charles Schwab and almost winning there. 3rd place finish. Oh, well, he's probably a little tired, isn't he? No, he's good for 3rd in Memorial. So, then he takes the week off at Canada, and then he's barking at the door again, and he just didn't get enough putts to go down. So what's he going to do? The guy just shows up. He had 13th last year. I got no problem playing him. 22% is probably low. It's probably a very fair price for the best player in the field. Unless you want to challenge him with Rory, which that's one thing I might do, actually. I didn't really see it at first this week, but and like I said, I'll still play a lot off both of these lists. But this could be very well a week to go Rory. Rory has a fine course history here. He's got the 19th, 11th, and the 12th every other year since 2018. And he is on an absolute top 10 tear right now, driving the ball extraordinarily well now, and the irons seem to be pretty good. Dude loves a wet course. That was one of my first DFS wins when he won the Arnold Palmer in like some really, really wet conditions several years back. So I always just think back to that and think, I guess, Rory, but I've heard other people say it, that because he's so long and he's got so much carry off the tee, but it doesn't really make that much of a difference here. But if you got no rollout and wetter conditions, he can certainly scurry it out there and maybe take a few more risks with the big stick. So you never know. He might be getting some really, really short wedge shots. John Rahm, not much history here at all for him. 37th in 2020 when everybody pretty much played it. I'm going to take a pass on Rahm because I think this course takes the major weapon out of his hands, which is that driver. He's so accurate and long with it. And but he does have a high green in regulation. So, your guess is as good as mine. But you got to take stands up here. Xander, I could take a stand against Xander, and it's not really any knock. I really liked him last week along with a lot of other people, and he kind of shot himself out of it on Saturday. But he still finished T10. He won it last year, so he's no stranger to victory. But running them back, who knows? I believe he was on a pretty nice tear. I believe he was winning some stuff back then. He won back-to-back tournaments. But Patrick Cantlay is everybody's cash play, and I said it too. He's nothing worse than a 15th in most every appearance he has. So, what are you going to do? You have to go over here and let's go dig back a little further. He's got miscut in 87 way back when he was a puppy. But, like I said, 5 straight. So he's a guy that I would start lineups with, no problem. Victor Hovland, if you're going to tell me he's getting squeezed out to 14%, 15%, I'm all over that. I don't see why he wouldn't take right to this course, hammers it off the tee, sticks it on the greens, and the guy can putt. And his short game's not terrible anymore. So, stats-wise, he should be amongst the best players in this field, and he's kind of going overlooked. So I'm going to have me a lot of Victor Hovland, just to let you know that. Excuse me. But Xander up there, I think with Xander being up there and Fleetwood Morikawa right below, that might be why we're getting as much discount as we are. Maybe it's out of sight, out of mind. It's only been a couple of weeks since Memorial, and he was just kind of maybe a lost. He finished 19th, T19 probably, at the U.S. Open, and likely wasn't all that terrible. If we've got a moment. Oh, so just to put a bow on it, he actually didn't have the best approach week, but he was about even with the field. But we're used to seeing Victor, rock out plus, like he gained 10 strokes on approach at the PGA Championship. But he still he can still get it. So I like kind of that he had a little bit of a dip because he always positive off a negative for the most part. Anytime you see a negative, usually the next one is a positive, like Zozo. He won. Well, no, he didn't win Zozo. My bad. But anyway, that's Victor for you. But that's why I like him so much. And especially when you get that ownership discount, you can go right up top with any number of guys. My preference is kind of maybe skipping. I do like Morikawa, but I can fade Fleetwood, Clark, Fowler. I could fade all these guys. Homa, JT. Sungjae M's a different story. Sungjae is I thought maybe about giving him a shot here because he's so low owned, but he's got a couple decent finishes, so he's seen the course. But he's just really been wonky, and with Hideki right here underneath him, it's kind of hard. So what I'm looking at here is maybe just Hideki is just playing so well. He's so dialed in with the irons right now, and getting on a surface I think he could putt a little better on with the bent Poa mix. And actually, he lost almost 6 strokes putting at the U.S. Open last week. And that's always a good candidate. Even Decky bounces back from losing that many strokes putting. So he can always come back from that. So that's what I really like about him. But back over to the list, you got Tom Kim at 21% and Thigala, which I agree with what some people are saying. Thigala is going to be higher owned than 13, 14%. He just always is. I've seen Rick's projection of him be like 15 or 16, and he came out like 23%. So don't be shocked if you open up your hybrid or your 3 max tournament and he's 22% because he's popular. He's not playing all that terribly. And I'll tell you one thing, he's finally straightening his driver out a little bit because he actually got back to even with the field at the U.S. Open. And all these tournaments, he's been finishing 38, 58, and 40th. He's been hemorrhaging strokes off the tee. Much shorter course. He's got the second place finish. He seems to play well at these types of courses like Phoenix and, like TPCs. He's another TPC kind of guy, I think. And so I think he'll have no trouble with this course. And it's not like I'm not okay with Tom Kim. The 8th place finish was very encouraging. He's a perfect setup, accurate off the tee, long enough. And he seems to be getting everything back in order as far as his ball striking. Siwoo Kim, this whole little range is kind of funny. The next pivot would be Russell Henley. If he's 24%, I don't know what to do with that because he's been so good lately. He's hitting so many fairways, so many greens. His approach play has just been outstanding, and he's actually doing all right with the putter. So I don't know what to do with Russell Henley. I guess that's probably one of the guys I'm going to have to eat some chalk on, and then I'll just get over to another guy I'll bring up here in a second to even that out real quick. But if you want to pivot, Keegan is your guy, I think. He's been getting a lot of mention. For one, Keegan likes to play up northeast. 2, he's got a pretty decent history here. He's got a second place finish a few years back. He's lost weight. That's good for him. So he's getting around. He's got more endurance. He can build up. I mean, I can go on if you want me to. No, I'm kidding. But Keegan at 10%, I'm fine with it. He's had some approach issues recently, but I know how good he is with those irons. So I don't think that that's hard to flip. The putter, which has been consistent, will be the key. So I'm on the lookout for that. Leaning over to the next one that's really going to be a tough call is probably Austin Eckroat down here at 15%. Well, Minwoo Lee also. Let me just go in order here. I mean, like I would play Keegan over Henley. That's no problem. I think Keegan is as likely or more likely to score DraftKings and finish, the same as Russell Henley. So we'll look out for that. Denny is another guy down here that's getting some love. Harris English gained 10 strokes putting to get another top 10. That's like the second or third time he's finished in third previous to Byron Nelson there. and 13th. There's 2 other occasions where he's gained 8 to 12 strokes putting to finish where he finished. So he's won this tournament, and I love him. I meant to play him last week, and I didn't do it. So he just scrambled his way to a massive putting week, but he can do that. I mean, he can spike. He's one of the best, but if he's going to be garnering 15 to 16% ownership, I'm going to have to let him beat me this time around. Same with Minwoo. I mean, I know he had that pop at the U.S. Open there, and he can drive it a long way, and he can hit irons, and he can shape shots and all that stuff, but he has no course history here. So I'll take Brian Harman as my pivot there. Or if you want to, take a guy like Aaron Rye at 6%. He's playing really good golf, and he's striking it really well. The putter is a problem, but that's something that we're just going to have to live with. Minwoo is a better putter, so that's something we'll have to see. I'm not saying to do that, but I love Jaeger down here. He struggles with the putter a little bit too. Some decisions will have to be made down here, be honest with you. But I do like fading that 9K to 9,500 range. So there's going to be lots of guys to choose from down here in your low sevens. So I may not even have to go to these guys. I am going to go to Harman. I think he's just setting himself up too well. I know he fell out to 43rd at the U.S. Open, but I mean, for him to be hanging in there in that tournament was definitely encouraging to see. And he's got top 10 finishes in 4 out of his last 5 here, and he's playing some good golf. So I'll go with Brian Harman here. Especially if he's not going to get out of hand like above 15%. If he just hovers 10 to 12, I'll take it. Eric Cole has played 11 straight weeks. This is going to be week number 12. So I don't know if you're a believer in fatigue. That's something. But KH Lee, there's my pivot on all these guys, on Cole, on Eckroat, whoever. 1%, maybe 2 at the most. TPC Lee, he likes TPC courses. He's had a couple of bad runs with his irons in the last couple of tournaments, but if he just turns those around, he'll be just fine at this tournament. 19th last year. He's well worth the risk. The guy can score. If he can get the putter rolling, he'll score, and he'll make cuts. So I like him here. So make note of that. Andrew Putnam. I don't mind going back to him. Sub 5%, still getting it done. I mean, he's one of the better putters in the field. Shorter course for a short knocker, who's accurate and has been hitting his irons really well. So he's another one down here. But Christian Seabez, as I like to call him, because his name sometimes escapes my pronunciation skills. But he's a short knocker, but accurate. Really, really come on a long way with the approach game recently. So I do think that he can even out this off the tee and then get these irons going, and his around the green game is usually pretty good. He's a solid putter. He's one of the better bent type POA putters on this type of surface. So he did miss the cut last year, but he's seen the course, which is helpful. So he's another guy. I mean, you got Sue, you got Taylor Moore on the bounce back tip. Tom Hoagie, Hollywood Hoagie can get after it. I'm not down with Adam Shank. Brandon Wu is another one I mentioned in the previous video, who could possibly pop. Sepp Straka, I think it might line up similar to the way it is at Honda, where he plays well every year, and he's got some really good finishes. If his irons are clicking, he's going to probably be in the top 15 or 20 here. So I got no problem with that. Getting down a little further, this is where I'm going to start getting into some more little bit, I guess, maybe chalky, not chalky. Mark Hubbard, obviously everybody's talking about Mark. But 6% down here, that's not that bad. I'll take it. He's just been playing so well, and his irons are so good. This is the perfect course for him because he's not long off the tee. You don't need to be. All he's got to do is fairways and greens and make some putts. And he's in there like swimwear. So a bunch of other guys. Mike Hughes is another one I like here. he can get down like 4 flat tires around the green and make putts from all over the place. And he's got decent history here. I know he's had a little bit of a bad run at it lately, but he should have made the cut at Canadian Open. And he just fell apart on the back nine, the hard nine that he played. I think it was actually the front nine, but that's the one he had to finish with. So he gave it back. Matthew Neesmith, I will be playing this week. 19th last year. He's another short knocker, accurate and pretty even across the board. You get down here to a couple more. Cheese came through for me at the Canadian Open, so I'm running him back. He's got great history here. He's won this tournament, so he's a threat. Nick Hardy showing some form. 8th place finish here last year. I'm down with a couple other guys, and I'm going to get out of here. Kevin Yu, low key Kevin Yu. I actually saw him first. I'm going to call that. I don't know how many people will mention it, but Kevin Yu, if you remember, he was really, really playing well. And then he hurt his knee, torn meniscus, had to have knee surgery. He's been on the shelf. He's back in the field this week for the first time since then. He would be absolutely perfect. He's got no course history. But he is getting a little bit of owner. If he's 3.75, I thought he'd be 0.075. But evidently people are looking at their models, because even though Kevin Yu hasn't played in 3 months since February, all of a sudden he's popping in models. So that might be a deterrent, because he'd have to be a 1%er for me to fire him up. But there was a couple more guys down here that are worth mentioning. Joel Damon, maybe. Dylan Wu, obviously 6,600 all the time. So you're going to tell me that Dylan Wu is going to be 0.82%, a guy who's been ripping it up for the past 2 months on the golf course, tee to green, perfect setup, same, all the way around. Maybe he doesn't gain as much off the tee, but do you need to? I mean, why would you do that? I don't understand. And ownerships can be wrong, so I'm not saying that. But I think I've talked long enough. I've gone over hopefully everything that I wanted to cover, and I probably missed a few things that I wanted to cover, but them's the breaks. Appreciate you joining me. Thanks a lot. Next video is coming out soon, probably next week. So I believe it's Rocket Mortgage. So we're getting ready to go Detroit Rock City on that. So until then, we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.